Hey guys, Stephanie here with A Northern Gardener. Today I'm going to talk to you about onions. Onions can be planted in three ways: through seed, set, or plant. Onion seeds are the least expensive route to go with. There are endless varieties that you can choose to plant. However, it takes longer to actually harvest the onion. You'll plant the seed in early season and spring, and then you'll get the harvest kind of late summer. It's about 115 days to maturity for the Walla Walla onion, which is one of the most popular varieties. They're the big bulbed yellow onions. And now onion sets are these small little bulbs, I guess you can say. I'll try to put a picture up. And the final product, it seems, it doesn't always come out as large, like the bulb doesn't form as large as it normally would, as if you would have started from seed or plant. And that's Garden Answers experience with planting sets, or those little bulbs. It's also difficult to determine the variety of onion that you have when you buy the little bulbs, because they normally come in red, yellow, or white, which doesn't say much about what type of onion it is. The third way is by plant, and this is when you have, I'll also upload a picture of this, but it's a small kind of bulb at the bottom and then a green onion top. And they come with all the roots intertwined. You slowly have to pry them apart, but they're very easy to plant. And it seems to be the most foolproof way. However, they're really difficult to find. I searched all over the big box stores as well as some of the smaller nurseries, and I never found them until I went and got some cattle panel to make a trellis at Tractor Supply. And I actually found them. However, the only description of the variety that it told me was that they were long day onions, which I'll explain later. But there are many different types of long day onions, so I'm really not sure what kind of onions I've grown. They do very well when you plant them as a plant. Like I said, it is difficult to find them in person as well as find the variety, but apparently you can buy them online. JohnnySeeds.com in particular sells about 55 plants for $18. And when you plant them as a plant, it's almost a guaranteed success. So I'd say that's pretty good. So now that we've talked about how to plant your onions through seed, set, or plant, it should also be known that they can be planted in the ground, in a raised bed, or even in a pot. Onions do prefer a nice, airy, and fluffy soil though. Now we can talk about our long day versus short day versus day neutral onions. This is important. This has to do with how the onion bulbs. The bulb grows with the sun. And so a long day onion is grown in a more northern climate, and it takes 14 to 16 hours of sunlight a day. And it's a general rule of thumb about zone 6 or colder. And then the short day onions grow in less than 14 hours of sunlight in the more southern climates of zone 7 or warmer. And there's actually day neutral, and those can be grown in either region. I will be putting up a map to kind of help you guys out to determine what's the difference between the long day or short day and where you're at on that map, as well as the day neutral. Those can be grown in either climate, or the north or the south. So when should you plant onions? Pretty much as soon as possible. After the dangers of frost have kind of passed, for your first or your last average frost date. Just because the days to maturity are so long. An average days to maturity for all the different onion varieties are about 125 days when you plant them by plant. And if you plant them by seed, it's about 140. You just add about 2 weeks. How to plant onions. So by seed, I'm sorry to tell you, but just double check, read the seed packet. It should always tell you exactly how to plant your onion seeds for your particular variety. However, it's generally probably going to tell you, a 1/4 inch deep, lightly covered with soil and then water. One of the main things with onion seedlings is they require constant moisture. It's what they thrive in. If you're going to plant by set or those little bulbs, ensure that the pointy side of the bulb is facing up and that the root side is facing down. And then if you're going to plant by plant, gently pull them apart, as I was saying before. You don't want to just plant them all together because it won't give them room to bulb out. That's what you're really trying to do. Is you want to give enough space for the bulb to grow. So as I was saying, or hopefully I put a picture up, but you have the green onion out the top, and then at the bottom you have this white, small teardrop shaped bulb, and you want to plant that. It's about 1 inch into the soil, and then watch it grow. So again, while you're planting, the spacing, you want to ensure that you have enough room for your particular variety sized bulb to grow. So if your bulb is going to be 4 inches at full maturity, you want to plant every 4 inches. However, if you also enjoy green onions, which is just the green that comes out of the top, you can heavily plant onion seeds and just thin out the green onions as those grow. So that's always an option. And how to water onions. We need to keep the soil moist, not drown them, but keep it moist. And onions, they'll actually split if they dry out too much, so we don't want to do that. How to harvest onions. We actually want to start harvesting our onions 1 to 2 weeks after the tops fall over. So you'll have the bulb, which might be slightly visible at the top, above the soil line, might be. And then out of the onion, you're going to have a huge green plant growing, all these stems coming up, and those will actually start to just completely fall over. And your onions haven't gone bad, it's just they've reached maturity and they're ready to be pulled. So like I say, 1 to 2 weeks. If you wait too long, they'll actually start to develop some mold on the bulbs. But what you want to do is you want to pull the onions out and then wipe off the dirt. And then we will prep for long-term storage. Obviously you can eat them right away, but hopefully you'll have quite a few onions, and we'll want to prep those for long-term storage by allowing the onions to dry out in a well-circulated area for about 1 to 2 weeks. Or some people actually choose to sun cure them, which is leaving them out in the sun, provided it's not supposed to rain, for about 4 days, roughly. 2 to 7 is what I read. But 4 days should be a good rule of thumb, and then you'll want to move them to a darker location to continue drying out for another 1 to 2 weeks. And then you'll want to cut off the tops, the green, and then you'll cut off most of the root base. And then for long-term storage, just store them in an airy container. Some people keep them in boxes, or I guess they sell onion bags or like a potato sack, something similar to that. And just keep them in a cool, dark place, probably your basement or a closet. A lot of these helpful tips, they came from johnnyseeds.com as well as Garden Answer. Thank you and happy gardening.